Let's face it, not all of us are chilling here with max gear, 72 years of supplies, and enough PVM experience to probably do the Inferno blindfolded. And if you are, well, you probably don't need this video in the first place. But here's how to easily farm Scurrius the Rat King with mediocre gear and supplies. Hardcore Ironman friendly, by the way. First up, why would you want to even kill this stinky rat in the first place? Well, you either want some of this juicy combat experience, or you want this cute little rat pet. Isn't he just adorable? So where do we steal this cute little pet from? The boss is located to the east of the ladder, down inside the Varrock sewers. You can teleport the rock and go down this manhole, and it's right over here. As a fun fact, if you're really dedicated to saving on supplies, there's a reasonably close bank and even a prayer altar nearby. In order for you to actually kill this boss, I'm going to recommend a bare minimum of level 50 combats and 43 prayer. It's not going to be an amazing experience in the most kills per hour, but it'll work, and when you manage to get your hands on a rat bone weapon, the kills will drastically speed up. Gearing for this boss is very simple. If you already have a rat bone weapon, use it. Otherwise, just use your current best in slot style. All the boss's defensive stats are basically the same, so it doesn't really matter what style you use. Here's an example setup for melee, one for ranged, and one for mage. And the inventory is very simple. You want at least one prayer potion for mistakes / learning. If you have a spec weapon like a dragon dagger or something, bring that. If you're loaded with stat boosting potions, bring a superset, super combat, whatever you have. If you have a rune pouch, feel free to bring high elk runes for longer trips. And for the rest of the inventory, just bring whatever food you have access to. For me, it's going to be karambwans. Let's talk about the boss mechanics and what's actually a threat here. Scurrius uses all 3 attack styles during the fight. Its main body, Scurry, will melee you. The range rat, Chewy, will throw stinky rotten cheese at you. And the mage rat, Nibbles, will fire this blue lightning attack at you. It's important to note that the melee attacks are not only faster, but also can hit nearly twice as much as the range and mage attacks. But those are just the basic attacks. Scurrius also has 3 special attacks that you should look out for. The first special attack is healing. After losing about 20% of its health, the boss will sometimes move to one of the 3 food piles around the room and start restoring health every few seconds. There's no way that you can interrupt this, but it'll only heal a few times, so just keep damaging it. While healing, it won't use its melee attack, but it will still use range / mage, and it might also do one of the other 2 special attacks. For its second special attack, the boss will screech, and 6 level 46 rats will spawn around the arena. They are very accurate and will melee you through prayer, but they get 1 hit, and if you happen to have a rat bone weapon, you can attack them with no attack delay, so relatively harmless, and if you're really desperate, you can block most of the small rats with the boss. The last and the most dangerous attack in the entire fight is the falling debris. The boss will jump in the air and cause rubble to fall down around the arena, which is indicated by these shadows on the ground. One of these will always land on your current tile, and if you get hit, it'll hit you for 15 to 21 damage. So if you see Scurrius jump in the air, make sure you move away from the shadows. After the boss gets down to 30% health, or if you're too slow after it eats from all 3 cheese piles, the boss will move to the center of the arena and start spamming the falling debris attack along with its range and mage. If you're struggling to stay on top of prayers at this point, just camp one style and tank the other. The most important thing is to not get hit by the debris, as that deals the most damage by far. Here's a few little tips and advice. Tip number 1, the attacks register damage when they hit. So don't panic on your prayer switches because you have about 1,000,000 years of response time. Tip number 2, similar to the God Wars dungeon, every 10 minutes you can eat from one of the stinky piles of cheese to fully restore your hit points. Keep in mind, it only works when out of combat, but it can be very helpful in staying here for long trips. Tip number 3, if you're confident in your abilities and or you're not a hardcore Ironman, you don't really need to pray against anything other than melee, because the magic and range attacks are quite inaccurate and will hit less than anything else. And finally, tip number 4, getting the rat spawn stuck on the boss might help a lot if you don't have a rat bone weapon, but a large percent of the good XP rate come from killing these little rats. But if it does help you, you can easily get most of them stuck by just running through the boss like this. Now let's get into an example kill so you can see just how easy this boss actually is. And I made a mistake or two there, but it's just that easy. And lastly, since I've been farming the boss on both of my accounts, here are their respective logs, so you can get a feel for what you can expect to receive in loot. Yo, thanks for watching the guide, fellas. I wanted to rush this out real quick because the boss literally just came out, and I actually saw a lot of people struggling with it a little bit. If you have feedback about the guide or you want to see some more from me, let me know. And if you're a new viewer, consider subscribing or checking out my Hardcore Iron Man series. The first few episodes are a bit rough, but it gets better, I promise. Alright, see ya.